Hello and welcome to another episode of ohmTown on Twitch. I go by Mayor Watt. I'm the mayor of ohmTown. Am I going to do it right? Yeah, there you go. It's that site right there, up there, if you look over in the corner. ohmTown. If you throw something in chat now, it's going to end up on that white part. Oh God, I did it the wrong way. It's going to end up in that far white part over there. And I hope it looks okay. I've tried out a couple of things. It looks okay, but I'll keep noodling around with it and see what shakes out. But in the meantime, I want to introduce the show. It's all the news at ohmTown. Trying to decide on how I want to shape this because we've got enough news coming into the site that I could probably do a unique show in one category each day, and still have one day left over for either a break or reruns or me to do another show on another topic and test out stuff and see how it goes. But I'm not quite sure, and I have really not much in that's stopping me from doing whatever I want right now. I mean, hopefully the people that see the VODs are interested in the material and will continue to check things out. So I'm still evolving, I guess you could say. So if you have an interest in the show and you want to offer up some advice, then throw it in chat and let me know how you feel about things. I'm going to do something real quick because I don't like how it's laid out right now. So yeah, there you go. That's how it's going to look right there, over there. Right? Oh my God, over there. It's going to pop up for a little bit and I may have disabled it fading away, but like alerts and stuff like that will fade away. But I'm going to grab something. I'm going to do something real quick so that I can see chat easier. Okay. At any rate, just to introduce you to the show, the way that ohmTown works is I aggregate news into 6 categories, and under those 6 categories there are groups. Each of the groups have discussion boards, and that's where the news gets funneled into, depending on what it is. So if it's some news related to making jewelry, then it'll be in jewel crafting. If it's involving photo manipulation and things like VR and AR and other things related to manipulating audio and video, then it'll be in Reality Hacker and so on. Usually the group is pretty much self-explanatory based on the name, right? So commuter edge has to do with traveling. Education, there's a bunch of different ones in here. Temporology is about time. If you don't know what temporal is, then it's all about time. Word and law is about law, etc. And my aggregator reaches out to a couple hundred or so news sources. A lot of them are niche and don't really have that much news, and others are somewhat overwhelming in the amount of news that is gathered. They're from sources that I find reputable, that I find interesting, and I aggregate them into this site because prior to making it public, I was consuming all of the information directly on a private site, this private site. I unlocked it off and on over the years simply so that I could access it publicly and test things out and see if I liked it. And then in January this year, 2022, I decided I was just going to open it up to everybody. And so that's what you've got right now. And I decided to start streaming on Twitch the news that I thought was kind of interesting for the last 24 hours. Now, how this show shakes out from here on really depends on if people are interested in it. So let me know if you are interested in it. I don't really hype it up in other people's chats and channels. I don't really do much on YouTube in terms of hyping it up there, or I don't do anything really on YouTube or on Twitter or elsewhere. I'm basically here on Twitch. I like the interactivity of it when I'm interacting with other streamers, and so I want to do it here as well. That said, let's get on with this show, because there's a bunch of news. The news in general has been overwhelmed with what amounts to the next Supreme Court justice being selected now that there's going to be an opening, and who knows what's going to happen, but it's political, and it may have a long term effect depending on the age of the person, the justice that comes rolling in, simply because it is a lifetime appointment. And really, unless you drop a tactical nuke on someone, you will remain a justice no matter what you say, what you do, based on conversations that I've had and things that I've read. So, but we can talk about that if you're interested. I'm not going to get too into it. I don't think I've selected any news that really impacts it. But the way that this works is if you ever click on ohmTown.com, go over, sign up, become a citizen, start earning ohm. That's the currency that's used on ohmTown right now. It's basically just allowing people to collect it, but not use it. I have tried a couple of things to connect ohmTown to Twitch so that it's one and the same, but things are quirky. I have a pretty elaborate system, and somewhere in there it's breaking. It's not just a simple chat room, really. And so I'm still working on its integration. But every time you go over to ohmTown.com, you will get pretty much a new set of links at the front of the page. And then you can always go into each individual category and or group. But I've selected some that I thought were interesting already, some headlines. So this first one is attached to the Mobile group. This is the Mobile Mob show that I had been planning on doing, but I can't do everything. So I'm looking for a host or co-host. If you are interested in doing it, get in touch with me and we can talk. That would be great. I can't put it any simpler than that, and I don't want to go into detail on every stream. So get in touch with me. We can talk. Plant pathologists collaborate to share knowledge on a growing threat to corn production. Corn is actually a huge source of energy, both in terms of creating you can distill it. It creates ethanol. You can process it and it becomes sugar. You can actually just burn it for fuel, and it actually produces quite a bit of energy. And so apparently there's something going on with corn that is impacting its future production capabilities. An infection, tar spot, can result in yield losses of up to 100%. It's kind of like the bee. There's a mite that attaches to bees and it causes colony collapse, and it's been running rampant really around the world for a decade plus, I'd say. Now I can't remember the name of the mite, but anyway, once it gets into a hive, you might as well just burn it all to the ground. As far as I know, maybe there's new procedures that might save a colony, but from my understanding, it's once they're infected, you just can't get rid of it. And this has happened over the years. They're saying here that a tar spot was first spotted in Mexico in 1904. It spread to 15 additional countries throughout Central and South America. Apparently, it made it to the U.S. in 2015, which seems kind of slow in terms of progression, but this has happened before with other plants, trees, even animals, where something has led to a catastrophic collapse of the productivity, either reproduction of the animal or reproduction of the plant. It just kind of collapses. Certain types of woods, certain types of grasses, fruits and vegetables, all have been bitten by some type of infection that has caused it to collapse. And nobody really knows why it happens, other than it happens, and evolution causes it. Something weird comes wobbling out of the genetic makeup of existence and then starts killing something, plants or people. So go over to, so just a reminder, every time you click on a link that says visit the source, it'll take you over to that source. And there is what I want you to read that article and then come back and talk shop with me about it. I can give you a quick rundown, maybe a little bit of additional context, because of what I do for a living. I tend to have a little bit of knowledge that might be outside the norm. But I firmly believe that there is always somebody smarter. Even in a chat room of 5 people, there's someone in there that knows more or knows a niche element of it. So I really encourage people to chat with me. I do this day in, day out during the day. I just happen to want to be parlaying that into a stream, and hopefully more and more time streaming. But in essence, no one can stand alone, the smartest person in the room, and anything short of just accepting that you're not the smartest person in the room is hubris, at least in my mind. So one of the shows is called 4-Wheel Tech. It's basically merging technology and vehicles, and I like the separation of those identities, because not every car necessarily is high tech. And so I want to be able to draw attention to the tech that gets put into cars. And Porsche has now released a new hybrid Le Mans car. And I'm going to click the link here. It's going to take you over to Ars Technica. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to go over there and take a look and read the material that Jonathan Gitlin over at Ars Technica has put together. So apparently this car is not due until 2023. But here you have a kind of marble, a marble skin on the new Le Mans car. So looks pretty cool. I really dig cars in general, automotive designs in general. It could be anything from I could care less what it is, because there is beauty in every design to a point, I guess. Sometimes they become a little bizarre. There was a car that was designed that looked like it was stung by bees and had an allergic reaction and is all puffy. And even in that design, there's beauty in that design. And so I just appreciate a little of everything. And I hope that you do too. I'd really like to get somebody in here that is really interested in cars and wants to talk for an hour about the latest trends or technology. Hopefully both, maybe the people, the ecosystem of being a gearhead, basically. And get a 1-hour show going each week. And my objective is to get to 50 shows. Obviously, I can't do it all. I'm not going to do 100-hour work weeks anymore. But 50 plus I do regularly. So I hope you dig that car. Go and check it out and then come back and talk to me. I pulled this earlier today. The article actually was gathered by me at the time it had been posted 7 minutes ago. So don't use that as the actual measurement. It doesn't update until you refresh the page. So you can win a SteelSeries headset and Neverwinter goodies on PCG. So if you've never been there, you can go over to PC Gamer. If you click the link or you just go over there, I'm sure they're going to be hyping it up on the site itself. I totally encourage anybody to go over and try to win the SteelSeries Arctis 7 headset and Neverwinter codes. And apparently that's courtesy of SteelSeries and Perfect World Entertainment. I have no relationship with PC Gamer or SteelSeries or Perfect World Entertainment. But they have a really neat feature on the site where you can click the link and listen to the actual article. I think that is great. Not many sites have that, but and if the competition, I guess, if the prizes have already been awarded by the time you get to it, then I'm sorry. It looks like you have until February 16th to enter. They say to hurry, but today is the 27th, which is the first day of this competition. So go win some prizes for me and come back. I'm not going to enter. I'm happy just helping people find out about this. I'm sure more people are finding out about it from PC Gamer than the ones that I would be directing to them. But for what it's worth, I like promoting contests. In fact, I'm going to talk about one later. Not really a contest, but I'm going to promote something. I don't have a relationship with this thing that I'm going to talk about late at the end of the show. Other than I am helping kickstart it by purchasing or donating. I don't know what Kickstarter calls it anymore, but I'll be helping kickstart this piece of software. So at any rate, go over to PC Gamer and give it a shot. Try and win something. This next article is on Stock Marketeers. It comes by way of Market Watch, and it says why OPEC Plus may not want $100 oil prices. Talk of $100 a barrel oil has intensified in recent days, but triple-digit prices may pose a disadvantage for major oil-producing nations that are set to meet next week. So I'm going to click this link. It'll open up the page, just like it always does. The idea of $100 oil prices, $100 a barrel oil prices, while inflation is going up and the cost of goods are going up, right? Because of inflation. Salaries are not really increasing across the board. They've been stagnant, particularly for government employees. The gap between the highest and the lowest in a company is expanding still. So setting high gas prices really doesn't do anybody a service, in that what it's going to start doing as oil prices increase, it's going to keep on pushing people to want electric vehicles. That's not what they're going to be talking about in here, I'm sure. It says oil prices at 100 are a distinct possibility this year, driven by both strong demand and minimal gains on the supply side. While OPEC would love to see oil hover at 80 to 100 prices above the top end of that range, we'll probably see demand destruction, with consumers forced to reduce consumption, and that is the last thing OPEC wants. Well, that kind of hints at what I'm talking about, except that they're probably going to be talking about the fact that people will just reduce demand by not doing something. But that's not exactly what happens. What happens is people delay, hoping that the price will go down, hoping that prices for gas will decline. But then they spend it because they have to drive. They have to go and pick up food. They have to do this. They have to do that. There's the elasticity of gas basically means that they could keep on raising the prices for gas and there will still be profits. Even when people are forced to pay $6+ a gallon. Europe pays a tremendous amount more for gas than in the US. And, it's all based on the economy, that hyper local economy at that, because you can go to one city and it's, $3.50 a gallon. And then you literally go 10 miles in any direction and there's another one that's selling it for $5 a gallon. Well, maybe not there. In California, that's definitely true. But the prices shift depending on somebody's perceived value of their gas station's location. And then on top of that, OPEC profit seeking. This process has gotten pretty straightforward, right? You pump the oil, you process it into the various elements that are needed either for fuel or for some other good, and off to the races you go. Profit, profit, profit. So I can see $100 showing up again and again and again. We are going to see $100 a barrel prices. And I don't think that will really affect the bottom line. Okay, so I better get going because I've got a lot of news and I'm already 20 minutes into this. Let me get to where I need to be. Okay, so this next article is in the Law Nerd group. It comes by way of Above the Law. 3 lawyers weigh in on their top TikTok marketing tips. I was a consultant for attorneys in the past. Click on the link here. And back then when I was doing consulting for lawyers, TikTok didn't exist. It wasn't even an idea for an attorney to market on TikTok. But this is an article by Nicole Black over at Above the Law. Useful tips and practical advice for lawyers interested in expanding their law firm's social media footprint. My advice back then, which is more than 15 years ago, was to have a presence online that was dynamic and engaging. And so the attorneys that I would advise would have to be engaged in their site. Either write something and then, I could have somebody publish it to their site, or in some way make a dynamic site. But it has to be engaging, and you basically have to be the charismatic leader that an attorney really should be. You should be able to carry yourself in a conversation as an attorney in such a way that people don't look at you askance and go, "You're really an attorney? Are you serious?" But on TikTok, it's very short snippets. And so you have to be concise and engaging, charismatic, informative, or at least interesting in some way. And I wonder if that's what they are going to talk about here in this article. But again, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you in the stream. So it says post often and stay consistent. That's pretty much the biggest advice that I have heard in anything online. If you're going to stream, you want to be consistent. You don't want to be, too sporadic because people won't know when to engage. Follow the trends. Naturally, if you can't relate to the people around you, then you're a lost cause. choose content with your target audience in mind. Yeah, that's pretty much dress to impress. Think the thoughts that you want to think about where you want to be, not the past where you don't want to be, that kind of thing. Interact with your followers naturally. And this is kind of interesting. Beware of potential stumbling blocks. There's all kinds of stuff in there, I'm sure, and this is just a small segment of something. Depending on what it is, you could actually violate certain rules or regulations as an attorney, promotion and things like that. Reap the benefits. Last but not least, once you've gained some momentum with your TikTok account, sit back and reap the benefits of your hard work. Yeah, those mad TikTok dollars. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. I don't do anything on TikTok. I know all about it. But I don't have a presence there. Maybe I should. But little snippets of news aren't really the most exciting. But people like those little tidbits. It tends to keep people engaged. I have an associate that kind of just lets it stream. Keeps on going. Pretty wild. So this next article is lawyer kicked off LinkedIn for alleged self-promotional posts, loses appeal of consumer fraud case. So a New Jersey appeals court has affirmed the dismissal of a lawyer's lawsuit against LinkedIn for kicking him off the platform. So I'm going to click this link. It goes to the ABA Journal. To me, I think everybody needs to realize that when you're on somebody else's site, you are at their whim. And I've learned this in business a long time ago. Legally, you are sitting in somebody else's house. And if they don't want you there, they have every right to boot you off. It's just like a store. Just because a store allows you to go in and leave and purchase stuff and whatever, doesn't mean that they have to allow you in there. Sure, there are protected classes, but many, many people do not fall into those protected classes. And additionally, even if you are a member of the protected classes, you are not immune to being kicked out of a store because you're being a tool. So naturally, if you are doing something that violates either terms of use, stated or unstated, if somebody doesn't like you being on their site, they can boot you off, at a moment's notice. If Twitch were to get tired of my crap, I'm not adding any value. I'm not attracting anybody to the site. I'm just consuming resources. I believe it might even say it in the terms of use that they have the ability to. I know from reading terms of use on YouTube that they even stipulate that if your account is stagnant, if you're not doing anything with it, they have the right to shut your account down. I don't think they really do it that often. That must be one of the rarest things that I've heard of happening. And in fact, in all my years, I've not seen that done on any service really. At any rate. So somebody kicking somebody off their site just seems absurd to bring a lawsuit against that website. You basically cut your losses, because unless there's somebody in the background that's sitting there saying, I really hate this person because of this, whatever it might be, the color of their skin or their religious bent or whatever. Unless somebody does something that overt, a lawsuit is basically a hostile action. And maybe in time you can come back and not legally appeal. All that really sends as a message is that you're kind of hostile towards the organization. And just because it's open to the public doesn't mean that it has to accept everybody that comes. But we'll see. It's one of those things where they're suing for alleging breach of warranty, negligence, common law fraud, and consumer fraud. I'll have to read more about it because it seems like there might be something under the surface. Claimed that he didn't have reasonable notice of the terms of the user agreement, including the forum selection clause, which, by the way, the terms of use, the rules and policy can change without notice. So even if you agree to something today, they could change in 2 weeks because of something that they've, forgot to do or whatever. And it's incumbent upon you to review them. And you can be stuck in an endless loop reviewing the terms of use again and again and again and again and again. I get notices periodically that terms of use have changed. So not every site does that. That's for sure. So the person that filed the suit said on Facebook, some people post 10 photos a day of what they're eating for lunch and their cats. If I knew there was a rule, I would have complied with it. All the big companies hide their stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean, it really depends. If there was only... LinkedIn had claimed in court papers that Verkamen's 15 or more posts per day were intended to advertise his business because they included contact information, according to law.com. Yeah. So you will see on most sites that it's basically considered spamming. If you keep on saying the same little tidbit on every single post, then basically posting self-promotion, it's seen as spamming. And so the forums are meant for casual conversation and for networking, but not in the sense that it's a banner ad with every post. In many places, sometimes they allow signatures and even have regulations or rules, policy and procedure for what is allowed in a signature. But I would have maybe gone about it a different way, but we don't know what the interaction truly was between the two parties. But let me keep going. This new item here is over on Smack Talk on ohmTown. The link is from Apple Insider. The article is from Apple Insider, and it's a MagSafe charger. So Belkin Boost Charge Pro portable wireless charger pad for MagSafe. It says pricey, but better option. So I'm going to click that link and I'll take you over there. And this is the little gadget right there, which is pretty neat. It holds your device up and is MagSafe, and $60. I don't know if it's inelegantly named Boost Charge Pro portable wireless charger pad for MagSafe. Wow. Oh, you almost pass out saying that one. But there you have it. A nice braided wrapped cable and built-in catch. Nice MagSafe. I'm always leery of MagSafe stuff because I once had an iPad and a case that the case actually came from Apple, and the magnets caused friction between the case and the iPad and made little scuff marks. And when I said something about it, they basically told me to blow it out my butt. Sorry, that's not very professional of me to say, but that's basically what they told me to do. They said that it was my fault. Well, not really. It was what it was, but it's a $60 MagSafe puck, according to them. Right. So the Apple MagSafe thing puck just sits there, whereas this Belkin MagSafe it acts as a stand as well. So pretty neat, and I would buy it for $60. it's one of those things that if you treat it right, you'll never have to replace it until technology advances so much that the charging system is just becomes outdated entirely. Faster charging, or it's charging too little because the batteries are now bigger in a smaller package, needing more charge time. I don't know, but this MagSafe Qi charging kind of stuff, you just plop it on there and it charges overnight, and you're done by the next morning, I should say. So pretty cool. Go and check it out. It's over on Apple Insider. This next article is scientists make a new type of optical drive using Alumina. Scientists from Kavli Institute for the Physics and Mathematics of the Universe and the University of Minnesota. Wow, that is a lot to live up to. That name is huge. Kavli Institute for the Physics and Mathematics of the Universe. Of the universe. Man, that's like calling yourself the Avengers. Anyway, apparently they've created a new optical device. And that's over on phys.org. A new type of optical element that will improve the performance of telescopes studying radiation from the Big Bang. Interesting. So it's called Alumina, but for the most part, it's basically aluminum oxide, right? So I wonder, let's see, come up with a new way to fabricate anti-reflective structures that reduce reflections 50-fold using alumina. Interesting. So I guess we'll have to look at this some more at another time. But you can always go and check it out, phys.org, and then come on back and talk shop with me. If you read this and you have an inside track in understanding it, then feel free to read it and then come on back. That's interesting. Within about 4 days, the laser process produced 320,000 pyramids on both sides of the alumina disk, and the researchers measured the properties of the alumina sample and showed that it reflects less than 1% of incident radiation. That's interesting. That's kind of what I have behind me. Those panels back there do the same thing with sound, not the same level, obviously. It's not creating an anechoic chamber in here, but I have these panels spread liberally around my office, and it kills the echo and reflections of my speakers and whatnot that's in the office. So, and that's kind of typical for a structure that looks like that, right? How can I, maybe if I, is there another spot? So see this picture right here in the top left corner? When you have a structure like that, very little is reflected directly back. So it gets trapped in the nooks and crannies between the cones, and you end up not having a reflection. Pretty neat. So this next article is higher confidence and academic integrity of remote instruction among college instructors. In a new survey by Wiley, it suggests concerns about academic integrity in online courses have eased significantly among college instructors since 2020, when the transition to remote instruction was still ramping up. So I'm going to click this link. It takes you over to phys.org. There has always been an issue with distance education and academic integrity. For whatever reason, the claim basically is you're more likely to cheat because there isn't anybody on Overwatch, and hence at some institutions they require you to come on campus, even in distance education programs, to take tests. Well, unless you make the tests high stakes, which is actually pretty dangerous to the success of a student, um, because there is a lot of context there. You could be a nervous test taker, but you know the stuff, but that confidence fades rapidly when you are stuck in a room somewhere and told you're being tested. Um, and so tests become high stakes. And when things are high stakes, it's not even realistic. It's not a real world situation that you are tested on your math skills without somebody having the ability to audit and correct. Um, Obviously, when the entire system fails you and you launch something from NASA and it becomes a lawn dart on the moon, that's a different matter. But it isn't that you failed a test, it's that everybody failed in correcting the situation. So I have a problem with high stakes testing facilities in general, because I could be running cables and make a mistake and I can correct it, but you can't correct a high stakes test. I know that I'm not the only one, but I'm probably in the minority when it comes to testing in education circles. But in one of the areas that I am involved in, you have to worry about CompTIA certifications, where it's depending on when you take a test, you'll have to take another test and be knowledgeable of that next test. And if you fail it, then you don't get recertified. So they are high stakes, but they're also industry certifications, not academic certificates or degrees. And really, those degrees are long-term dedicated tasks where I don't think that a single test should make or break somebody. But as time has gone on, people have become more confident in utilizing distance tools to take tests, and the institutions have become more familiar and more trustworthy regarding the integrity of online instruction. They're not freaking out as much. So our findings, however, this is one of their quotes. Wiley, Senior Vice President of Digital Education. Our findings, however, suggest those concerns were greatly allayed when instructors gained more experience with remote coursework. So the previous quote was, many college instructors worried about problems with academic integrity when courses shifted to online instruction early in the pandemic. There's more to it. There's always more to it. But it's an article over on phys.org. I'm going to have to speed up a little bit. iHeart Music Award nominees, Olivia Rodrigo, Ariana Grande, Justin Bieber, are leading the nominees. You can go and check out more of that article over on Variety. Feel free to come on back and talk shop with me about it. I listen to all kinds of music, from classical to I would listen to harpsichord if it sounds good, all the way to death metal and everything in between. Pretty much in every domain of music, I appreciate something in it. Maybe not everything, but definitely there are gems hiding in every category of music. Yeah. I mean, Gregorian monks chanting is pretty awesome. I don't know. I'm just going to start rambling, and I need to keep hustling on this one because I've got a meeting that I need to go to right after my show. So would love to stay and chat. But go over to Variety and read this article and then come back and talk to me about it. That would be great. Epic is going to keep on giving away games in 2022. I just got a Jedi Fallen Order for free. I can't believe that I didn't already own it, but and that's an Origin game. But the companies are giving away games to pull you into their ecosystem And so right now on my system, I have Epic, I have Prime, I have Origin, I have Steam. Why do I feel like there's a couple more that are missing? But game launch windows. That's all it is. It's a means to connect to the database, to download a game, launch it locally. It reaches out if it can get past my firewall, and goes from there. But Epic is going to keep on giving away games in 2022. I know that will continue to happen with Origin. I know it'll happen with Microsoft. Everybody is competing for our eyeballs and for our interaction. So always keep an eye out, and don't be worried about, these launching apps. Just install them on your computer and download Glassfire, and hold on one second. Just install a software firewall that augments the Microsoft firewall, the built-in firewall, called Glasswire. That app does an amazing job of raising awareness about interactions between your computer and the outside world. And if you don't want something to reach out, you just turn it off. Just turn it off. That's what a software firewall is for. And mine, I control all of the computers using Glasswire, and I have a hardware firewall as well on the edge of my network. So hopefully nothing gets past me. We'll see. The best laid plans. Okay, I'm going to really have to hurry now. Master and Dynamic MW07 Plus True Wireless earphones are 40% off. I have not gotten these before. I have many headphones, and I might actually go and get these. They're $149, but true wireless, which means that there's no wire connecting the two sides. My problem that I've had with these in the past is like one will be active and the other one won't be, and you have to noodle around with it until they're all working. But I'm going to do some more digging into this and see if they are worth it. But go over to Apple Insider and check them out, and then come back and tell me, give me your review of the product. NVIDIA GeForce Now lowers the barrier to entry level for high quality gaming on any device. Yes, that's true. I am one of the early adopters of NVIDIA GeForce Now. I have one of their, I can't remember the name of it. When you got in on the earliest period, you were given a certain title. But anyway, PC Gamer has the article on it. Basically, for a relatively low monthly fee, and I say relatively because it's subjective based on how much disposable income you have to throw at something that you'll never own. It's not something that you can, pay once and you've got it forever. You have to keep on paying into this. But you can max out the graphics on any game that you want to play, and all it does is ramp up more GPU compute power at NVIDIA, and then it streams via basically a browser. It amounts to a browser and app interface so that you can play the game, but you have to own the game somewhere and link it to GeForce Now. I think it's a great service. I don't get to use it as often as I would like, but I don't get to play games as often as I'd like. There is more ramping up about a congressional stock trading ban. If you are in Congress, you shouldn't be able to trade stock. I agree. If there is going to be stock actions, then it needs to be double blind, so nobody can benefit from the knowledge that the privilege of leading the country offers. and there's all kinds of insider information that gets exchanged. So this article is over at commondreams.org. And when lawmakers are making their own laws, there are some laws that are going to be punitive to the lawmakers. It should be expected to be treated, the lawmakers, just like regular citizens. And I know from experience that I can't do certain things because I receive privileged information. If I receive privileged information and I act on it, then I'm in violation of that. So why isn't everybody? But there are a lot of equivocations that allow somebody to trade stock when you're in Congress. So I think that it should be double blind. Nobody should be able to manage their own investments. Run your businesses, that's fine. There's a lot of oversight in government contracting. Sometimes it gets bypassed, but so Apple, and the next article is Apple wants to shrink MacBook Pro by removing speaker grills. I would love that. I really don't like speaker grills. They always collect dust and dirt, and they get clogged sometimes, or, I've had things scratch them. It's just they're not very attractive. So Apple has been researching how to embed a speaker underneath a MacBook Pro keyboard, which would mean being able to reduce the device's footprint. And yeah, I agree. And there are speakers that you can put, piezoelectric speakers that you can attach directly to an object, and they will vibrate so that the sound seems to emanate from the device itself. It's quite fascinating tech. Maybe I can give a demonstration sometime, but there's some really neat devices out there that do this. You can make speakers out of these little, they look like speakers, but they don't really function well until you glue them on to something else. It's really cool. So people put them in boats and inside walls and stuff like that. So this article is over at Apple Insider. And I wholeheartedly agree that speaker grills should go away, much like my dedication to wanting to stamp out wires. I want to stamp out speaker grills now. This next report is from the Continuity Report, and it's an article in the Continuity Report on ohmTown. NBCU reveals Peacock has 9 million paid subscribers. So I have this service as well. And frankly, it's kind of hit or miss. Like I go in, it's like a tactical strike, right? So you go in, you watch your show, you close the app, and you're done. But I'm paying for that privilege. And then I've got other like DirecTV, which is AT&T now is DirecTV. God. Anyway, so balkanized as we are basically nickel and diming to view certain shows. And NBC is saying that they've got 9 million paid subscribers. That's great. Okay, this next one is Universal Music expands relationship with Twitch and Amazon Music. I just received this notice today that UMG is expanding their relationship with Twitch. It's interesting in that, I'll click the link and it'll take you over to Variety. It's interesting because to me, it doesn't really impact anything because you're still in violation of DMCA if you stream music that you don't have authorization to stream. And it says so in the email that you are sent. So wherein this changes that dynamic, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll have to do some more due diligence to find out, because this just came earlier today and I haven't had time to review the email beyond the casual review. Because you can't stream any music without authorization. Thus, you're in violation of DMCA. You get 3 DMCA strikes and everything is gone off of Twitch. You're done. Well, pardon me. Well, just because UMG has said this, you can't, you need what's called a synchronization license. If you're going to stream music live and then post it as a VOD, there's 2 different licenses. I don't know what I did there, but it's 2 different licenses, and that sync license is the one that is the most profitable. So you can't just stream it, store it as a VOD, and get away with it. You have to have individual permission for each song from the copyright holder, and it isn't necessarily UMG. So we'll see how this shakes out. I'm going to have more conversations with people about it. But it's over at Variety. If you're a streamer and you're interested in this stuff, go check it out. And then in the Word in Tech, a nudge to resume economic activity. This link is over at phys.org. I won't end on this because there's something else that I want to draw attention to. But as people are vaccinated and people are wearing masks, the new normal basically is going out and doing what you need to do. Omicron is slowly dying out. Hopefully there isn't going to be a variant that rises to the same level as Omicron in terms of infection and has more fatalities. Let's hope that goes away. But we are slowly returning, and we will see what happens. We really need to pick up the economic engine so that our inflation doesn't destroy us in terms of recovery from 2.5 years, which is what this is going to end up being since December of 2019. The impact of COVID was getting felt. In March of 2020 is when things really hit the fan. And in 2022, we're still dealing with Omicron and Delta variants of COVID-19. But that's not where I'm going to end it. I'm going to end it with letting people know about this. So over on Kickstarter, there is a game that's coming out, and it's called Above Snakes. So I was in a presentation earlier today about this game. I think it's a great looking game. I think it's a great idea for a game. It's unique in many ways, particularly the way that it allows you to build and place tiles, and you decide what the next element of your world is. And it's basically like little building blocks, and you can see it right there. It's really neat, and I've already pledged. That's what it's called on Kickstarter. I've already pledged. I've pledged about 40 or so projects on Kickstarter now, and this will be a fun one. And if you get the right level of pledge, you'll be able to take part in the alpha, which starts on March 1st, or whenever the funding is closed and sent to Tobias. And this is in coordination with the publisher, what's it called? I forgot it. Crytivo, that's it. And so Critivo actually has quite a few Kickstarter published apps that are a lot of fun. And I found out today that a couple of them are ones that I've helped kickstart. So this is another one, and Critivo kind of got its start with Ultiversum, I think it's called, or Universum. But you'll have to go and check it out. So I would love for you to go over to Kickstarter and do a search if it's not already on the front page. Wow, this is a really long page. Go over to Kickstarter, do a search for Above Snakes, and check it out and back the project. That would be really great. I would love to see this $26,000. That's just shy of it actually hitting its goal. So I've done my part. I hope you can go and do yours. That would be great. Make this game real, because I want to play it, and I want to play it in alpha. So, okay. That's where we're going to end it for tonight. And I want to thank you for coming. I'm still trying to get everybody to chat in chat and let other people know that I exist. I don't go around advertising myself in other people's channels. So I have to rely on other people telling other people. And unless I become a hot mess train wreck, I fear I'm a little too chill and maybe not engaging enough. So give me some feedback and let me know what you think of this type of show here on Twitch. Eventually I'll be able to find some time where I can play games. I'd love to be able to play Above Snakes here when the alpha drops. And I believe they said that it would be fine to do that. So, okay, with that in mind, I think I'm going to end our stream, our interaction, and I'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern. And we'll do this all over again with another 24-hour snippet of news. Thank you very much.